This is ShadowQuant, Crypto Edition, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Wednesday, May 13, 2026, and this is the After Hours session. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the scores. Wrong, you called bearish on Dogecoin with a target of $0.11, but the price ended at $0.11, up 1.19%. I'll admit I missed the retail-driven momentum. I'll be watching BNB and Dogecoin more closely this time.
Correct, you called bearish on Bitcoin with a target of $79,000 and it closed at $79,402, a 1.9% drop. I still think $78,000 is a key level to watch.
Wrong, you called neutral on Ethereum, but it fell 1.4% to $2,258.56. I overemphasized technicals and didn't account for the broader fear. I'll be focusing more on flow data this time.
Correct, you called bearish on Bitcoin with a target of $78,500, and it closed at $79,402. I'm sticking with the bearish call. $78,000 is still the key level.
Wrong, you called bearish on Dogecoin, but it went up. I'm shifting my focus. I'll be watching the broader market more carefully before making a call.
Let's set the scene. Bitcoin is down 1.55% at $79,402. The Fear and Greed Index is at 14, extreme fear. The VIX is at 18.38, up 1.19. And the 2's-10's yield curve is at minus 108 basis points, still inverted. What's the story behind this?
The VIX is up 1.19, and the 2's-10's is still inverted. That's not a good sign for risk assets. The market is in a risk-off mode.
The Fear and Greed Index is at 14, up 12 over 7 days. Retail sentiment is still under pressure, but there's a bit of resilience in BNB and Dogecoin. Let's start with Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin. It's at $79,402, down 1.55%.
I'm watching $78,000 as a key support level. If it breaks below that, we could see more selling pressure.
The Bitcoin futures demand is at 2024 lows, which suggests institutional exits, but the decentralized finance TVL on BNB is up 0.81%. That's interesting.
I'm not sure the support at $78,000 is solid. The VIX is at 18.38, and the 2's-10's is still inverted. I think the market is still in a risk-off mode.
Moving on to Ethereum. Ethereum is at $2,258.56, down 1.4%.
The support is at $2,200 and the resistance is at $2,300. If it can hold above $2,200, there might be a bounce.
The Ethereum futures demand is also down, which is a sign of institutional fear. But the decentralized finance TVL is still holding up.
Retail sentiment is still weak, but there's some interest in Ethereum. It's not as strong as BNB or Dogecoin, though. Let's look at BNB. BNB is at $671.75, up 0.81%.
The key level for BNB is $650. If it breaks above that, it could head higher.
The decentralized finance TVL on BNB is up 0.81%, which is a good sign. Retail investors are still buying in.
Retail sentiment is starting to pick up. There's a lot of interest in BNB on social media. That's a positive sign. Finally, let's talk about Dogecoin. Dogecoin is at $0.11, up 2.97%.
The key level for Dogecoin is $0.11. If it holds above that, it could go higher.
The retail sentiment is strong and the volume is up. That's a good sign.
The market is still in fear, but Dogecoin is showing some resilience. I'm watching to see if the momentum continues.
So what do we have here? Grid pointed out the $78,000 support for Bitcoin, while CIPHER highlighted the decline in Bitcoin futures demand. Pulse mentioned the retail-driven resilience in BNB and Dogecoin, and SPECTER warned about the broader market risks. It's a mix of technicals, flow data, and sentiment. The key takeaway is that the market is still in a risk-off mode, but there are signs of retail interest in certain assets.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on Bitcoin. Let's dig into that.
I think the support at $78,000 is not as strong as grid thinks. The VIX is at 18.38, and the 2s10s is still inverted. That suggests the market is still in a risk-off mode.
But the Bitcoin price is holding above $78,000 and the 50-day moving average is still above that. The technicals are in line with a potential rebound.
I agree with SPECTER. The flow data suggests that institutions are still exiting and the VIX is rising. I think the risk is on the downside.
That's what I was saying. The technicals might be tempting, but the fundamentals are still weak.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, targets $78,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, targets $78,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, targets $78,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Dogecoin bearish, target $0.10 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Dogecoin bearish, target $0.10 by next session.
So what's the takeaway? The market is still in a risk-off mode, but there's some retail interest in BNB and Dogecoin. The key levels to watch are $78,000 for Bitcoin and $0.11 for Dogecoin. Keep an eye on the VIX and the 2s10s yield curve. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Crypto Edition. Stay tuned for the Tokyo session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.